Well, really, I don't deserve this. 3,000 volunteers in Israel who sacrificed their lives to treat and save 700 people every single day in times of peace, in times of war. They deserve this. So I'm going to proudly present this award from Shmuley, from Dr. Az, and it's a great honor. When I was almost 7 years old, I was coming back from school on a Friday afternoon. I lived in Jerusalem in a small neighborhood, Beit Vagan, right next to Yad Vashem. And when I was coming back from school, a number 12 bus was coming towards my direction, towards the bus stop. I was with my older brother, and I saw the bus blow up in front of my eyes. It was a number 12 bus, the first bus that ever blew up in Israel. I was only 6 years old. So lots of people yelling and crying for help, but I remember one person yelling and screaming for help. He needed someone to help him get up, older person. I was there with my brother, and we were so scared to go over to him and help him, we just ran away and left him on the floor. I grew up. When I was 15, I decided I want to save lives, and I went to volunteer in an ambulance after I did an EMT course. Well, I wasn't like Dr. Oz, but I went to do an EMT course, and I volunteered for a year and a half in an ambulance in Israel. And I realized how many people are waiting for me as an ambulance, inside an ambulance, to come and save them. How long they're waiting for an ambulance to arrive. And then a 7-year-old boy choked from a hot dog in the same neighborhood I grew in, and we were the ambulance that were supposed to go save him. And it took us 21 minutes to get to him because of the distance and the traffic. And when we got to him, this little 7-year-old boy was on the floor. His parents were hysterical, crying, and we started CPR. We were the first ones to actually start CPR on a 7-year-old boy. And a few minutes after, a doctor who passed by came in and he said, "Stop CPR, this boy is dead. There was nothing to do." I burst out crying, and I said to myself, why did this doctor know about this 21 minutes ago? Why did he have to see the ambulance arrive? He lives just 1 block away. Why did no one ever think of calling him? And I decided that moment that it's not enough. If I want to save lives, I have to do something. I can't just volunteer in an ambulance. And I decided to start a group of volunteers, 15 volunteers, and respond to emergencies within the first minutes when it happens, not when the ambulance arrives, as a next-door neighbor, as someone who's a bystander. And I started with 15 volunteers. The problem was we didn't have a way of getting the emergency calls because we were just regular young kids volunteering. And the ambulance services did not want to share the calls with us. So we decided to start this organization to use one of Israel's best innovations ever, called chutzpah. And we bought police scanners. In these police scanners, we would listen into their calls. And every time we heard a call nearby, we would just run there and help the person. A week into starting this organization, Hatzalah, I was 16 and a half years old. I heard on the police scanner, on the stolen police scanner, I wasn't stolen, we bought this, but we actually were listening into a frequency that wasn't ours. And we were listening in, and I heard a 70-year-old man who was hit by a car in Rehova Pisgah in Beit Vagan. And I was right there, and I heard the accident. He was hit by a car, and I ran there. And when I saw this man on the floor, he was bleeding terribly from his neck, and I realized that he was on Coumadine. Blood was just gushing out of his neck. He was literally dying. And I know if I don't stop his bleeding, he will die within 2 minutes. So I took off my yarmulke off my head. I had no bandages on me, nothing. And I folded my yarmulke, and I pushed it inside very strong into his neck, into his throat, and literally stopped his bleeding and waited for 20 minutes till the ambulance arrived. And by the time the ambulance came, he was still breathing on his own. 2 days later, he woke up in the hospital, in Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem, and his son called and told me the news that his father woke up that morning, and he wants to thank me for saving his life. I started crying again. And I rushed to the hospital, and I saw this man on the bed. He was very weak. But he said, "Boy na yeled, come here, young boy. I want to give you a hug. Thank you for saving my life." And when he gave me a hug, that hug, he was very, very weak. But he had a number on his hand when he gave me that hug. That number I would never forget in my life. Every time I save a life in Israel, and I treated 1.6 million people since I started. With amazing volunteers. And we got down response time in Jerusalem to 90 seconds. And that's because of thousands of volunteers with these ambucycles are all around Israel. It's like Uber. Think about Uber. It's the life-saving Uber. We have an app that could calculate who is the closest to any emergency within 3 seconds, the closest 5 volunteers, who one could be sitting in a fish shop, the other one could be a lawyer working in a court case, and they all get the call because they are the closest to the emergency. And that's why we get there within less than 3 minutes nationwide in Israel, and in Jerusalem we get there in 90 seconds. Well, we showed the world what life-saving means. We did a revolution. Hatzalah did a revolution, not only in Israel, many countries around the world, if it's Brazil, if it's Panama. We have a volunteer that just joined Hatzalah in Panama called Neely Falick. Neely is the granddaughter of Neely Falick. She just joined our group in Panama, 150 volunteers. We have it in Jersey City, who are here today, Jersey City volunteers. We're doing this in Detroit. We're showing the world what life-saving means. More people die around the world every single day waiting for an ambulance, more than any disease you could imagine. People that are having a heart attack who could be saved are waiting 20 seconds too much or 10 minutes too much, and they could be saved. So Rabbi Shmuley, I thank you for this opportunity, but I don't want to get this award by myself. I want to call 2 volunteers from Israel. One is a settler living in Gush Etzion. He's originally from Gush Etzion in Ramla. And the other one, this guy is a hardcore Zionist living originally from Gush Etzion. This other one is called Khalid Rashek. Well, you saw him on the video. Khalid is a Muslim volunteer. Yeah. Khalid and Dovi are both saving lives every single day, and I saw 1 week ago in Israel, 1.5 weeks ago, when a number 12 bus blew up in Jerusalem. This was the second number 12 bus. The first 12 bus blew up when I was 6 years old. The second 12 bus just blew up in Jerusalem this month. Khalid was there with another 10 Muslim volunteers of United Hatzalah, saving lives of Jewish victims. You get this award.